Hello and welcome to Northworthy Sagas and Stories. This is a saga of illusions, part 2. Welcome, said Utgarde, king of the giants. Welcome to my city. But if you're going to stay in my hall tonight, well, you have to prove yourselves worthy. There must be a skill or talent that each of you have that you can impress myself and my giant friends with. The elfie stepped forward. I am a swift runner, and I'm quite happy to have a running race with any one of your giants. Ah, excellent, said Utgarde. In that case, you must meet my friend Minier. He's the swiftest amongst us. And we shall have a race around the city walls. We will start here at the main gate. Both of you run that way, and I'll meet you back here when you finish. Right, now go! And off they sped. Now it only seemed a matter of seconds to Thor until Minier arrived at the gate. And Thialfi followed a few seconds afterwards. It was pretty close. Oh dear, said Utgarde. You were well beaten there. Well, said Thialfi, I hadn't realised we'd started. Oh, alright. Well, in that case we must have another race to make sure. So, once more they set off around the walls of the city. It must have been a good 9 miles distance. And again, within seconds, Minier was back. And it must have been a good minute or two when Thialfi finally came and arrived at the gate, panting, breathing heavily. Oh dear, 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 said Utgarde. It's even worse than the time before. What excuse have you got this time? No excuse, said Thialfi, but I want to try again. Very well, said Utgarde. One more race it is, but then that's it. So they had one more race. Minier won again. This time, Thialfi was well behind. Oh dear, dear, said Utgarde. That's not a very good start, is it? Loki stepped forward. Watching all that running has given me an appetite, he said. And I'm quite happy, because my appetite is enormous. I'm quite happy to have an eating contest with any of the giants here. Very good, said Utgarde. Then you should meet my friend Hughie. He likes his food. Right, lay out my hall. So they went to the great hall of the king, where 2 long tables were set up. On these tables were platters of gold and silver plates, wooden platters. And on these there was meats, whole oxen, goats, chickens, geese, fish from the oceans, fruits from the forest, bread. It was a mighty feast. Now the first person to eat all the food and get to the other end is the winner, said Utgarde. Off you go! And Loki, well, his enormous appetite helped him with this because there was a lot of food to get through. But he noticed the giant by his side was keeping up with him all the way. And when he'd finished eating all the food that was laid before him, and he reached the end of the table, the giant was there with him. Very well, said Loki, we'll call that a draw. I don't think so, said Utgarde. For it's true you've done well, Loki. You've eaten all the food laid before you. But as you will see, Hughie here has eaten all the food. All the platters the food was laid upon. And the table as well. So I would say you've lost that contest. Thor stepped forward. Drink! Now, I'm a drinker, and I'll have a drinking contest with any one of the giants here. Well, no need for a contest, said Utgarde, but there is a test for you. Now, you see that drinking horn over there on the floor? And he pointed over to a big drinking horn that was laying on the floor, beautifully decorated. And it was very large indeed, and it was full of mead. Now, that horn, see how many turns it takes for you to drain it? Now, I can do it in one. Most of my friends here can do it in 2 drafts. my mother can finish it in 3. So let's see how you do. Thor was quite thirsty and he was quite eager to get over to this drinking horn. He took it in his lips and he began to gulp down the mead. And he gulped further and further. He was drinking for a good while, and when he was getting short of air, began to gasp, he laid down the horn. But the level inside had hardly moved. "Oh dear, dear," said Utgarde, "that's one draught. Take another." Thor picked up the horn once more, and again, drunk deeply, until the liquid was pouring out over his beard. Finally he laid it down, and again, it had hardly gone down anything at all. "Oh dear," said Utgarde. "Well, as I've said, my mother can drain it in 3. Let's hope you can do it this time." Thor picked up the horn, feeling very bloated by now. Took a deep breath and began to gulp as much as he could. Gulp it down, and still he couldn't empty it. "Ah, well, is there anything else you can do, Thor? Now you're quite strong, so I hear. How about a trial of strength?" "Why not?" said Thor. "I'm not afraid. I will take a test against any giant." "Well," said Utgarde, "let's just see if you can lift my cat first." And he pointed out the cat, a giant cat, who was laying in the hall in front of the fire. Thor went over to the cat, crawled underneath it so his back was underneath the cat's belly. Then he tried to lift himself, but he could hardly move the cat. So he gave up with that and he tried all different ways. In the end, the best he could manage was to lift one paw off the ground. "Oh dear, dear, dear. I think all that drinking has sapped your strength," said Utgarde. Now Thor was being humiliated and he was getting angry. "Right," he said, "wrestle. I will wrestle any one of your giants. Come on, I'm not afraid." "Ah, now I have a wrestler for you. Mother!" In walked his mother, slowly. She was bent over, she was a wizened old crone. "Now then, Mother, this young man here would like a wrestling contest with you." "Oh, I've not had a wrestle for a while. This'll be fun." So she approached Thor, and they both locked hands. Thor was amazed at the strength of this old woman. Vice-like she gripped him, crushing the bones in his hands almost, and the more he pushed against her, the more she just stood her ground and then began to force him back. So strong was she that she pushed him down eventually onto one knee. "Enough," said Utgarde. "I've seen enough. Well, Thor, you and your companions have failed in all your tests, but you tried your hardest. And for that, I will grant you to stay in my hall this evening. But in the morning, you take yourself your hammer and you must leave my city." So they stayed there the night and enjoyed the king's hospitality. But in the morning it was time to leave. The king led them all to the gates of Utgarde, and once they got outside, he turned to Thor and he said, "Thor, before you go, you should know this. You see, you think you've failed in the test I set before you, but you haven't, in truth, and I will tell you why. You see that giant you met, Thrym, who brought you here to my city? He was an illusion. And you see over there in the distance those 3 great valleys? You formed them when you thought you were striking his head with the hammer. You were actually digging those great valleys into the earth. And the cat, well, that you wrestled, that was the world serpent. Jormungand, that engulfs the whole world, encircling it, biting its own tail in its jaws. And you lifted its back so high, it touched the heavens. And the old lady you fought, that too was an illusion. That was old age. And old age brings all men to their knees in the end. The Elfie, The race you ran with Mimir. Mimir is no giant. He is thought. Nothing is swifter than thought. And Loki, the eating contest you had with Hugi. Hugi is fire. And fire consumes everything. So you see, none of you failed. In fact, you impressed me greatly. Especially you, Thor. But I want this to be a warning to you. Should you ever come back to Jotunheim with the intention of using that hammer again, remember me. Remember how I've tricked you. And remember the great power of my magic. And with that, the giant disappeared. And then the walls of the city of Utgarde began to shimmer, and they too slowly disappeared from view. And the three companions were left there alone to make their way back. And when Thor eventually did return to the halls of Asgard, they all gathered, and he recounted his tale, and he told them of his test, of what he achieved, but he also warned them of the giant's great magic. Here ends the story of Illusions. Thank you. Please subscribe.